Hello, good afternoon. I'd like to introduce how to start the Computer Studio 8. You can click on to this studio, and once you have clicked, probably you are going to see like this screen. There is a button, red button, record the screen, so you can click that, and again once you have clicked that, you are going to get this button. Since we are already on the start, it's already we are 35 seconds past, so we are continuing. What I would like to tell you is that anything that you like to record on the screen, at the moment we are recording this screen, whole screen. If you like to record a PowerPoint, you can keep it ready here. You see this is a PowerPoint that I'm going to make a presentation, and which is kept ready down there. Then I would also like to show the students for the next lesson that I want to do, so just wanting to show before I close the lesson. I also need a video in between my PowerPoint, so I kept this video ready. So I'll play from there just a little bit, and I will. So this is how you are going to keep everything ready on your taskbar. Let's start with then PowerPoint. If you want to record your PowerPoint and send to your students, you can keep your PowerPoint ready, and then now you can go for play button. You can always there is one of the things that I can show to you is you can pause your video. Wherever you have reached, just pause the video, and then you can continue again with the next sessions, or you can continue recording another areas of your teaching. You might go for video, you might go for a PowerPoint, you might go for just show some diagrams or the text or the map, etc. can be done by pausing. You can switch on by pausing. This is what I mean to say. All right, let's just to give you the test of what I am going to do it just now is let me minimize this. All right, I would like to play with in the full. So this is and lessons for B.Ed secondary third year science. I have already started teaching them chapter immunology, and this is one of the cells which brings immune system in our body. The T cell and B cells is very specific. It brings a very specific immune defense in our body. So just for a reminder, these are the questions that might be answered going through this PowerPoint. Do all T cells get mature at the thymus? Answer is no. Where do we get this T cell get matured at thymus? How do they get selected? If the T gets that recognizes self as a self, then they get selected. Each T cell has to go through test and several tests, and so let us understand how it happens. Prior to that, this process further, we also going to see that how the cell mediate T cells mediate to bring immune response. T cells are produced in a bone marrow as a knife, very immature, quite immature to function. These knife cells move to the thymus by a circulatory system and get matured and tested. Its ability to recognize pathogens and the self body cells. So those detailed process will be explained through the diagrams or the flow charts. So these cells is being produced in the bone marrow, and this gets slowly transported by a circulatory system along with the blood cells and come to the thymus, and it starts settling on the thymus. The thymic cells, epithelial cell, presents the MHC, major histocompatible proteins is being presented because this each thymic cell has this protein on the surface, and T cell must recognize that If the T cells recognizes and binds with strongly, then these T cells would get selected. Whereas if T cells that has entered to the thymus and the epithelials of the thymic cells presents the MHC protein, if it doesn't recognize, then these type of T cells would get discarded. So there is a first level of selection here. One which gets bind with the MHC protein would get selected. Next level, those selected will further get into the cortical region of the thymus, medullary region of the thymus. And here what happens is there is a dendritic cell present in the thymus, which will again will try to test these T cells by presenting them body cells to the T cell. If the T cells recognizes the body cell as a self or the body cell and does not bind with it, then such will get selected because it doesn't destroy. If it gets bind, it will destroy. But in case if the T cell recognizes that body cell as a non-self and attach to it and destroy it, then such T cells would be destroyed here. Therefore, only the one which does recognize the body cell as a self would get selected. And these T cells has got immature proteins on the surface called CD8 and CD4. These would become positive once it is being able to recognize the self as a self. Further, this one that has been tested twice get further moved to the medullary regions or the cortical regions, and the cell here, what happens is those thymus which can here the cell signal cause the self-tolerant thymus to express either the CD positive or the CD negative. The one that has those which express the CD4 positive would become T helper cells, and those which express the CD8 becomes T cytotoxic cells. This is finally the mature T cells, how they react to the antigens. Antigen presenting cell brings the foreign particles, and the T cells CD8, which means cytotoxic T cells with CD8, comes and attached to the foreign particles, and these foreign particles once get attached, it gets activated, and then a lot of clones are produced. Many CD8 cytotoxic cells, T cells, are being cloned and produced, and each will directly act on the foreign particles and destroy. Similarly, it also produces memory cells, which will be used for later part of in case there is a secondary attack. There are two things that we need to keep in mind. The dendritic cells can also present present to the CD4 cells, CD4 T cells, T helper cells. CD4 that is being matured as a T helper cells would be now these will present antigens. This T helper cell will recognize if MS2 is present, then it will be recognized as a foreign particle. If it is recognized, then it releases cytokinins, which will again activates the T cells. The T cells will then recognize the MH1 of the cell that is being attacked by the pathogen. So these T cells or the CD8 cells will activate when it comes combined with the infected cells, and they destroy along with the cells. T cell destroy the enzymes by releasing the granulozymes and proferins. Alright, now let's look at how the NK cells coordinates its attack along with the T cells. Let's to do this, let's watch a video. Let me just play this video.
These are, let's say, NK cells. Those cells' job is just to find out the diseased cell and kill it. Now they will be activated after releasing this interleukin, or after receiving the interleukin 2. So here we have a cell destructive method activated by T cell. We see that T cell is signaling macrophage to engage in more macrophage T cell interaction. So it is giving a positive signal to macrophage. It's providing positive signal to itself with the help of this autocrine signaling. And it also starts secreting some other. This interferon gamma acts on many other types of cells. They also secrete interleukin 4, interleukin 5. Some of that also act on B cells. Remember, there are also other type of cells present in our body known.
Alright, that's all about the video. Hope you have noted down. There are certain proteins is being produced by the T cells to activate the NK cells. NK cells is encouraged to attack the infected pathogens as well as those infected cells. Before I end, I like to take you to this page. For the next class, we are going to study about the adaptive immune. Today we learn about the T cells. So next time we are going to learn about the B lymphocytes and the antibodies. We are going to look at explain how the B cell get matured as like a T cell, and also how B cell become tolerant and it develops. And we will also discuss how the B cell get activated and differentiate into plasma cells. And we are also going to look at the plasma cell produce a T cell, antibodies, which we are going to look at this structure and their functions. I would like you all to go through this, since we have already had this book with you. Please go through the unit 2.4, read it a little bit before you come to the class. Thank you.